So next up is a company, an organization that we have had a strong partnership for a long time. Was integral to getting RESO to where it is today, as some of the smartest minds in real estate 20 years ago got together and said, we need to start creating transaction standards, but really needed a home, needed the support, financial, location, logistical, to make sure that you all could get together and do what you do so well. So we're proud to have a great relationship with the National Association of Realtors. They have really the preeminent research capabilities in the industry on technology, particularly agent and broker technology. And Jeb Griffin is here to give us an update on agent tech.
Thanks very much, everybody. My name is Jeb Griffin, and I will be remiss if I didn't say I'm thrilled to be back live. I'm sure everyone here who's here is appreciating that and enjoying that, so thank you very much for having us here today. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about a recent technology survey that we reinitiated, if you will, and we'll get more into that in just a second. Let's see, next. But let me start with this. Let me ask a question. Have any of you ever felt, with the rapid pace of technology and the speed at which technology is advancing, have you ever felt like you just want to do this sometimes? You just want to put your head down and don't worry about it, right? You just want to let it fly on by. Well, I think everyone here in this room is part of a group that is not taking that approach, and I congratulate you on that. That's an important aspect within this industry. I spent a little bit of time and went back to the old Wayback Machine, and I found this, and this is from our friends over at Wave Group. In June, 10 years ago, in June of 2011, they put out their document titled "The Shift in Real Estate Technology." And this was a great quote. It says, many real estate companies today work in multiple MLSs, that mean multiple MLS systems, interface, and data formats. This creates more expense and overhead and can restrict their efforts to provide services company-wide. Would anyone agree with that? Well, interestingly enough, guess what happened shortly thereafter? RESO was officially incorporated. It moved from a work group and it became a full-fledged entity in of itself later that year. And so the timing was apropos for this analysis of the industry. Unfortunately, it's taken some time to get where we're at today. We've made some great strides, and we're seeing even greater strides as we move forward. This is interesting because in the last 2 years, obviously, the biggest aspect that's affected not just our industry, but worldwide, is the pandemic. This was a quote out of Housing Wire. Mike McGovern was writing for Housing Wire. The quote says, the impact of COVID on the real estate market is significant and has forever changed the way our industry operates. I, for one, absolutely agree. Being in technology and from a product side for a period of time, I've recognized that many times agents and brokers, but mainly agents in particular, are a little hesitant to adopt technology. They're apprehensive to change. I think we all have seen that. We've seen that repeatedly at the agent level, at the broker level, sometimes at the MLS level, and at the association level. But what was interesting about the pandemic is it forced us to utilize technology, believe it or not, that was already there. Everything that we began to utilize was already there. So a little bit about myself. I want to introduce myself. My name is Jeb Griffin, as I mentioned. I am the Director of Strategy and Innovation with the National Association of Realtors. In particular, I'm with a group called ESBIT. ESBIT's been around for a little while. My team is actually relatively new. I've been at NAR for 2 years, and my team and myself have all been there. It's basically a brand new team, effective 2 years ago. Prior to NAR, I worked for a large national franchise overseeing their product, digital product, both consumer-facing and agent-facing. And then I spent some time at a smaller organization working on customer onboarding. I've loved to be out in the field. I started at RE/MAX originally as a technology trainer, so I got to work with the boots on the ground, if you will, when it comes to the agents and brokers. And so it really gave me a good understanding of what works and what doesn't work, and successes and struggles that agents face on a daily basis. The ESBIT team that I mentioned, Strategic Business, Innovation, and Technology, is broken into 3 teams. And I want to talk about this because this is NAR's newer approach to technology as a whole. In the past, we were always trying to stay cutting edge. We were trying to stay bleeding edge, sometimes developing technologies in-house. And we've moved away from that a little bit. And now what we're doing is we have one section of our team focused on emerging tech. They're focused on looking at the items and the technologies that aren't impacting our industry today, but may impacting our industry going forward. We also have our events and programs, and I'd be remiss if I didn't plug a newer conference that our team puts on called the IOI, Innovation, Opportunity, and Investment. Just took place most recently in Dallas, and we're looking for an announcement for next August, next year, very soon. We don't have a location nailed down yet, but I certainly, as technologists, I hope every single one here would consider joining us. It's been a great event, and it just keeps getting better every year. This was our officially our 3rd live event, so we're looking forward to hosting that going forward. And then myself and my peers also work on our tech strategy and projects. Part of the ESBIT team is our SCV and our REACH team. So we have a group of companies and innovative startups that we work with and try to help them achieve success within this industry. So we're focusing on strategic projects with those types of companies, and we're also looking to create relationships with all the big companies that are impacting real estate today. This could include the FANG network of companies. This can include the big companies and the different Harry Potter houses that Sam referenced earlier. We really want to be a partner with everyone. We don't want to take sides. We really want to make sure our goal is to help these partners bring value to our members. In our minds, it's a win-win situation. So let me jump ahead and talk about the survey a little bit. As you may recall, we've had a technology survey, and we did it annually up and through 2018, actually. And I can't speak to why it didn't persist after 2018. But with our team coming on board, we looked at this and we decided this would be a great resource not only for ourselves, but for the industry as a whole. And so we worked with our research team, and as Sam mentioned, just an unbelievable research and analytics team that is within NAR. And we sent a survey out to 48,000. We ended up giving north of 3,000 respondents. So that ended up giving us, a 95% confidence level. So we were happy with the results. And to give you some very broad highlights, some of the highlights I want to talk about today are the technology that members indicated that are important to them today. You know, what is current? Obviously, the number one item we'll talk about in a second are e-signatures. I don't think there's any surprise there with the pandemic. I also want to talk a little bit about leads. This was a section of the technology survey that we rewrote. We looked at what the questions we had asked previously, and they really were not effective in exploring what kind of leads and how our agents and our members were getting their leads. And then finally, we took a look at future considerations. And we asked the questions, what do you think is going to be important next year, in 2 years? We didn't want to go much further than that because, as you know, technology moves so rapidly, there's really no telling what could be coming down the road. So some of these are a little bit small, my apologies, but I want to talk first about what our members said. What was the most valuable business tool used in their business on a daily basis? Number one was e-signature. Number two was local MLS apps and technology. I thought that was a strong positive in my opinion. Social media, Lockbox, we heard obviously showing services have been a hot topic today and will continue to be a hot topic. But Lockbox ranked very, very high amongst all the questions that talked about and discussed their current technology. Now we also asked members, how much do they spend each month on technology? Anyone want to take a guess? The overwhelming majority of folks spent between $50 and $250 on technology a month. Believe it or not, we had more people spending that amount or more on leads on a monthly basis. We'll talk about that in a second. So you can go down that list and see where video conferencing moved up that list very rapidly, obviously, again, due to the pandemic. I think you can argue that all these top items that are on this list are a factor of the pandemic. This is another, in my opinion, positive slide. We asked a question about the technology that their brokers provide. Are they happy with it? And the majority of our respondents replied that yes, they are very happy, they strongly agree, or they agree that the brokerage tools that the technology tools that their brokerage provides are needed to be successful and are useful to be successful. So I congratulate the brokers on this. This is important because I think going forward, we're seeing more and more agents shift from individual adoption of various technology to utilizing technology that's provided either A, by their brokerage, or B, by their MLS. I think we're seeing a significant shift in that today. So let's talk about that. Talk about MLS tech. We broke out MLS separate from brokerages, and we asked them, what has been your satisfaction with the technology your MLS provided you? And once again, the overwhelming majority of the respondents stated they were either somewhat or extremely satisfied with the technology the MLS is providing today. I think if we were to go back and look at similar questions from the surveys a number of years ago, that may have been a little bit lower, but I think that's something we should be proud of. I think the technology is improving, and as I mentioned, we're seeing a shift from providing the technology myself, individually as an agent, to utilizing the tools the brokerage and the MLS are providing. Moving on to leads. Let's talk about leads for just a second. This one was, perfectly honest, surprising to me. We asked the question, what are the tech tools that have given the highest number of quality leads? Number one, social media. I was surprised at that. I really didn't think social media was going to be number one. I was thinking maybe aggregator sites, CRM, MLS, but no, social media. So that's interesting. This is the type of information that helps NAR. We will take this technology and we want to build tools and systems and work with those social networks and find out ways that they can improve their product to provide even greater value to our agents. Number two on that list are their local CRM, no surprise there. And number three is the MLS site. This was, with all due respect, another surprise. I thought it was interesting that the MLS site ranked higher than a number of their other sites, including Listing Aggregator. When we jump forward and we talk about the monthly spending on leads, you can see majority of the folks spend less than $50 a month on leads. This is another shift that we've seen. I know we had a lot of discussion and a lot of talk over the last 10 years about the listing aggregators and the various folks that are selling leads to our agent. But the fact of the matter is, I think agents are spending less today on leads than they have in the past. They're utilizing the organic tools that are available to them out there. And that's important. That's important for us to understand because the organic manner for which folks can generate business, generate leads, are something that we need to stress and we need to utilize. If you don't have a component within your MLS, if you don't have a component in your broker, within your brokerage to help support social networks and support social interaction, you need to reevaluate that. Another area that we didn't touch on today, but I want to just talk about very quickly in talking about future trends. This one's a little bit harder, a little bit smaller to see, but when we said, okay, what's going to be important to you in the next 12 months? Number one, e-signatures. Any surprise there? No? Number two, social media. No surprise there whatsoever when we talk about the fact that the most number of leads are generated from social media. Number three, local MLS apps. Number four, CRM, Lockbox. The one that I want to bring to your attention is way, way down at the bottom. The actual percentage is not listed, but down at the bottom, it's about the 6th or 7th from the bottom is cybersecurity. This ranked at about 10% feel that they're going to have utilize this technology in the next 12 months. That's kind of scary to me. We delved further into that survey to ask about cybersecurity and VPNs and cybersecurity insurance and such. And if you get a chance, I'll give you a link to download the report in its entirety. I would suggest you look at that and look at the security part in depth. This, I really, really want to stress, is going to be an aspect of this industry that's going to continue to grow, and we need to address it immediately. We can't wait 12 months. We need to start this process now. Now, what is also interesting was that when we asked them about emerging technology in the next 24 months, look where cybersecurity ranked. So 2 years, it's going to be a problem. Next year, nah, I'm good. I strongly, strongly suggest you encourage your members, whatever role you play in interacting with folks in this industry, that they pay close attention to the security issue. Also, another one that was very interesting is drones. I think drones is an aspect of this tech and our industry that we haven't even touched yet. When we think of drones, what do we think of? What's the first thing that comes to mind? The quadricopters, right, that hover and you could take the aerial photos. That's absolutely right. It's the first thing I would think of. But I've seen examples of companies that are actually having drones that are robots that will go through and capture an entire house in video with no one there. You know what the hurdle was to get to that point? Stairs. They needed to find a way to get upstairs. And they have incorporated and found a way to get the robots to go up the stairs, and they can build a fully immersive 3D rendering of a house with this robot that will go through. The only thing you need there is someone to open the door for it. So the drone technology is going to be very, very interesting. And of course, 5G is an area that NAR is paying very close attention to, because all this technology can't take place without 5G. Without the robots being able to get connected and have high-speed connections, without the robots being able to go through the house and understand what is happening and processing that, it can't carry all that computing power on board, so it needs a fast connection. 5G is going to have a tremendous impact. We're talking about how it's going to change the shape of neighborhoods and smart homes. I think we're going to see a rapid adoption of 5G. We look at 5G, and quite honestly, none of us really know how to capitalize on the capacity that 5G is going to provide. Yes, you're going to be able to download a movie in 30 seconds versus 2 minutes. That'll be great. I'm right there with you. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to enable autonomous driving. It's going to enable these virtual tours, immersive virtual tours, so someone can pull up and get a fully immersive virtual tour right from their headset or right from their phone that slides into a headset. It's going to be some neat things that are coming, and they're not far. Obviously, our members, this was subjective. They think it's coming in the next 24 months. I think it's coming a little bit faster than that. Right along with that is artificial intelligence. I think that's playing a huge role in what we're seeing in automation on the back end. All those tools that CRMs are building today in terms of automation is assisted with artificial intelligence. And that's one aspect that's going to continue to grow. Blockchain is another area. We can obviously spend lots and lots of time talking about blockchain. We have a gentleman on my team, Dave Conroy, who's very, very active in the blockchain community, and he'll tell you once again, it's going to change the face of real estate. He's anxious for it to come today. I think we're going to be a couple years out before we really start seeing rapid adoption of that. And then finally, autonomous vehicles. I'm a car guy, and so that one's close to my heart. I'm really excited to the point where an agent can put someone in a car and they can download a programmable menu, and then it will take them to see every single house that they want to look at automatically. They could just sit in the back seat, and they can have 3D goggles if they can't get inside because of COVID concerns, and they can walk through the house just sitting in the back of a car that drove them there. It's not that far-fetched. All that technology is there. It's really, at this point, just a matter of rolling it out. So we're excited to see this technology continue to grow. We're going to continue the survey going forward. I would suggest, I'll leave this slide up for just a moment, in a second to give you a link to it. But the good news is I think, especially as I said, everyone in this room is moving from this perspective. And COVID has forced us to lift our heads out of the sand and sit up and look at technology and adopt it. It's forced us to understand what technology is out there and what technology we can utilize to be successful. It has forced us to continue to look for innovation and move forward. And luckily, we're going to move into a world where technology is going to streamline the business. Technology is going to make this business more profitable. It is going to make life easier for realtors and brokers and MLSs. And we're excited to participate. We're excited to be a partner with RESO to help with that. Obviously, standards are a big, big part of that. Without standards, we're just not going to get there. And so with you, we're excited to move that forward. If you'd like to download the full survey, I'll leave this up for just a second. Feel free to do so. Or simply go to nar.realtor and type in technology survey. And actually, if you type that in, you'll get two results. You'll get one from the 2021 survey and one from our 2018 survey. Now, we didn't take the survey exactly as it was in 2018. It had some dated questions. It was asking about vlogs and blogs, and they're just not that relevant anymore. But we did update it, and we do see some consistency, and you could see progress between those two surveys. And I encourage you to do so, to download it and search and do that comparison between 2018. And then we look forward to 2022, 23, continuing the survey and continuing to see and track and manage that process and that innovation going forward. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. My name is Jeb Griffin, and I sincerely appreciate everyone joining us here today.